everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Meredith Phillips. I'm a writer, reader, and bunny mama. Today I'm continuing my mini-series on creating ideas for your stories and how to get from those initial ideas to a first draft. So last week we talked about how to generate story ideas, where these ideas can come from, how you can best brainstorm them, and by now hopefully if you followed some of those tips you've got a big list of story ideas, which is super exciting, but it can be also a little intimidating if they're kind of all over the place. Sometimes you think of a story idea while you're out at the grocery store and the only place to write it down is in the notes section on your phone. Or maybe you're at work and the only place you've got to jot down a quick idea is on a post-it note or a sheet of paper. When you have all these kinds of ideas spread out over all these different places, it can be hard to know how to best organize them so that you don't lose any of them. Different methods are going to work for different people, so I'm going to show you a couple different ways that you could go about organizing and storing your ideas so that you do not lose them. Some people would argue that if it's a really good idea, it's going to stick around. Stephen King once famously said, "I think a writer's notebook is the best way in the world to immortalize bad ideas. The good stuff stays." And I kind of get where he's coming from here. If you have a really genuinely awesome idea, you're not going to forget about it. But sometimes I feel like those maybe sort of okay or mediocre ideas, even sometimes the bad ideas, sometimes you come back to them later and you remember about them because you're rereading what you had written down, and that will trigger a different idea, or you'll be able to expand it in a way that is not as cliche as the original idea you had. In my opinion, it certainly does not hurt to write down any and all ideas that you may have. So I'm definitely an advocate for writing things down, just in case it comes in handy at a later time. So where to store all of these wonderful ideas you have for future stories? Well, the first place that you can store them is on your phone. A lot of people use their phone to store these types of ideas, and it's a pretty good place. There's definitely pros and cons to it though. One of the great things about using your phone is if you're out and about, you can use the talk to text function to quickly get an idea out and in a file somewhere. Your phone is also extremely portable. You can carry it in your back pocket or in your purse pretty much anywhere you go. So it's always going to be there if you have an idea while you're out and you want to be able to write it down. There's also almost an infinite amount of space on those things, especially the newer phones have just insane memory capacities. So you could write and write and write and write and never fill up even a fraction of what your phone can hold. In the cons list though, your phone does have a high potential to be lost or broken. I think this is going to come down to you as an individual. Me personally, I've never lost a phone, and I think I've only dropped my phone 2 or 3 times, and it's been fine because I had a case on it. But if you are prone to losing it, or you find yourself always dropping it and you're always having to get a new one because the case is cracked or it's been destroyed somehow, the phone might not be the best place for you, because it would be terrible if you left it behind on a bus or in a restaurant and it just was gone. That means all of those ideas that you wrote down are also gone. The other thing that to me personally is really annoying about storing ideas like this on phones, if you're typing it out, it takes a long time to type it out with your 2 little thumbs, right? I don't know, maybe I'm old and I just can't type that fast on my phone, but I can't type very fast on my phone. So if you're also in that same camp, writing out a really extensive story idea on your phone is going to be kind of slow and maybe kind of annoying. The other easy place to keep story ideas is a notebook. You can get any kind of super cheap notebook at Target or Walmart or any of those other stores, even places like Staples or Office Depot, Office Max. They're gonna have really cheap spiral notebooks that you can pick up for $1 or so. And especially now, as we're getting on toward the start of the school season, they're gonna have all the back to school supplies, and you can stock up on a bunch of notebooks for under $5 or $10 if you want. I went to the store a couple years back now and I picked up these. It's like the cheapest possible spiral notebook that they had. It was literally like 89 cents, and it's just the flimsiest little notebook. And what I like to do with these, because I like pretty things, is I like to buy the super cheap notebook and then I put scrapbook paper and little stickers and things on the front and on the back and on the inside cover. I used to do a lot of scrapbooking, so I do have a lot of these pages, a lot of these scrapbook papers on hand still. One of the great things, if you do decide to sort of decorate the cover like this, is it helps bulk it up a little bit. It helps to make the covers a little sturdier, so it is less prone to get destroyed. But again, super cheap and easy to pick up. If you choose maybe a slightly smaller notebook than the sort of standard spiral size, it can also be something that's easily transported. You can throw it in a bag or in a purse, and it's easy to carry around with you. There's also something really interesting that happens in your brain when you're writing by hand. They've had studies that have monitored like brain waves and brain patterns as people work, and the people who are using pens and paper, there's more brain activity going on, which suggests that there's more synapses firing, there's more information being processed. And so if you're writing things down by hand, it might actually end up triggering more ideas as you write. So if you're used to typing on the computer or typing on your phone, get a paper notebook, get a pen or a pencil, whatever you like, and give it a shot. Give it a shot for just a little while. See what it is like to actually write by hand, and see if that gets some different kinds of juices flowing in your brain. Now, there are still some cons to using a notebook. If you leave it laying around and you live with parents or siblings, or you have roommates that maybe are just kind of roommates and they're not really your friends, there is the potential for other people to open it and read it. Now, maybe you do not care about that. I care about that, so I am careful. I know I live with my husband. He's not like going through my stuff, but when I lived at home when I was younger, if I wrote anything down in a notebook or a journal, I was so careful to hide it because I did not want anyone reading it. So if that's something that's going to be concerning to you, maybe the notebook is not the best place for you to go for story ideas. There's also the potential for it to be damaged or destroyed if you're writing on your desk and you've got a cup of coffee or a glass of water next to you and you bump it and it spills all over the pages. You've just lost probably quite a bit of work. So be careful with them if you're using them in a place where they could potentially be damaged. The other con to notebooks is that if you're like me, I like to have them really organized. I like to have this idea in this section and this idea in that section. If I run out of room, there's not a way to rearrange the pages in a notebook. They're in here with the spiral, right? And if you get one of those ring-bound notebooks, that's a different story. But if you're using just a typical little notebook like this, you can't really rearrange the pages unless you're doing a whole big cut and paste thing, which kind of seems annoying. So no ability to rearrange once you've written it down. The next place that you could store ideas for yourself is on the computer. Now there's a ton of different places within the computer that you could store them. So I'm talking just in general here. You can use a Word doc, Google Docs, any kind of thing like that. Computers, of course, you're going to be able to type pretty fast if you're a good typer, and that might be faster for you than handwriting. If you're using any kind of document within a computer, you'll be able to cut and paste and rearrange things to your liking, unlike a notebook. There are, of course, though, some cons to using a computer for storing your ideas. One of the big things to me is the portability. You can certainly bring a laptop computer, for example, to a coffee shop or a place like that if you're having like a write-in meeting during Nano or something along those lines. You can throw it in a larger bag and take it with you, but it's not really the kind of thing that you're going to be throwing in your purse to bring with you when you head out to the store for something. It's not that kind of portable. So that is something to consider. The other important thing to consider with a computer is the backup method. If you have your ideas stored in a Word document and the whole computer crashes, it's gone unless you backed it up somewhere. So whether you're using an external hard drive or you're using USB drives or anything like that, you're backing it up to the cloud, choose something, please, because if you lose all that work, it is devastating. I've never lost stuff like that before. I thought I had lost stuff like that for about 3 hours. I thought I'd lost some stuff and it was horrible. So if you do use a computer, please make sure you're backing it up as often as possible to avoid that kind of disaster. The final method I'd like to share with you for organizing story ideas is Scrivener. Everyone loves Scrivener, or at least a lot of people do. I've used Scrivener now for almost 4 years, I think. I got it pretty early on when I was starting to write, and I love it. I'll show you in a second here how I have mine in particular organized for my ideas, but just real quick, a rundown of the pros to using Scrivener is basically the same as all the stuff we talked about for computer. But one of the cool things with Scrivener is it does back up automatically. You can set it so that it backs up to a specific place that you designate. It does it periodically while you're writing, and if you quit the program, you'll see the little message come up that says it is backing everything up automatically. There is also an app for your phone now, so you can get the app on your phone, and it is supposed to be able to sync with the desktop version, so it is now also portable. I have not personally used the app. If you have it and you use it, please let us know in the comments whether it's a good choice or not. I really don't know, but I do know that it is out there, and I feel like the people who have created Scrivener are really receptive to critiques and to ideas for how to improve the software. So if it's maybe not quite the best right now, I'm sure that they are working on making it even more user-friendly. The only real con to Scrivener is that it does cost money, both the app for the phone and the software for your desktop. I believe it's around $45, $50, which is a little bit of an expense for sure. If you do Nano, however, if you win Nano, you get the writer's goodies. And the last several years, I don't know how long that they've done this, but the last several years at least, you get a code for 50% off the Scrivener software, which I think that makes it a great deal to me. Then it's like 20 or 25 bucks. It is so worth it to me. Do take a look at it. If you're not quite sure you're really ready to invest that kind of money in it, they do have a free 30-day trial, so you can download that free and give it a shot, kind of see what it looks like, play around with it a little bit, see if you like it. So let's go over here and I will show you how I have my document in Scrivener organized. Okay, so here is my document, and I have all of my different ideas organized over here on the side. Each one has their own little sub-document. I have two things here at the top for really general ideas. The first one is just a list of tropes and different kinds of elements within a story that I love. And sometimes these can be helpful if I'm trying to figure out how I want a story to go. I also have a really short list of ideas just in general. Just a bullet point list basically of things that I haven't really expanded beyond that. Then some of these have actually quite a lot of information in them in terms of how I've thought through the idea. Others just have one or two lines. Like it's like one sentence and that's it. Others, like this one here, I've got 13,000 words of a story written down. Some of these are random scenes that I have created, and these are really just super rough drafts. Oh, here's my garbage trucks in space. See, I've got like 1,600 words. Oh, garbage truck. Like I started the document with LOL. And then I literally write almost like stream of consciousness. So I have here, look, they have a hunk of junk spacecraft / garbage truck that collects garbage that's floating through space. But one day they find themselves fleeing from a gang of space pirates after they accidentally pick up a lost treasure, thinking it's just junk. Like, it's just the stupidest. It's just as goofy. I did like little test scenes. This one I just have titled Manic Monday. A woman hates Mondays, so she plans something special for herself on Monday evenings. Wow, what a plot. Amazing, fantastic. Yeah, like some of something about that idea when I wrote it down seemed like really awesome, I guess, or at least worth writing down. I don't know if that's particularly the best idea in the world, but then I added my own little sarcastic note to myself. So it doesn't have to be super formal. You can kind of do it however you like, but that's just how I have mine organized. I also have some notes down here from John Truby's Anatomy of Story, some different writing advice, general that I've found in different places, and some world building questions that I found somewhere. So anyway, that is how I have this organized in Scrivener. Okay, so those are the tips I have for you today on how to best organize your ideas. Let us know in the comments below if you use any of these methods, or if maybe you have a different method that I did not mention on here. Let us know below how you tend to organize random story ideas, or if you do, let us know if you don't write them down at all. It'd be interesting to know why you decided to do that for yourself. I hope this was helpful. If it was, please give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more content from me, including the rest of this little mini series continuing next week with outlining, hit the subscribe button. I post new videos on Tuesdays and Fridays. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Hi, my name is Meredith. Whoa, no, not yet. Even places like Staples and Home Depot.